What's going on, everybody? This is Jake here with very minimal to no creep whatsoever. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Beyond the Berm. Today, I'm going to be giving you a slight overview and a 2500 round update on my CZ P01. Now, over the past, coming up on 8 months or so, I've been carrying the CZ P01 for about, I would say, 4 months or so. I've had the Enforce APLC attached to the pick rail on it. Now, over this time span, I have put roughly 2,500 rounds, probably a little bit over that 2,500 round mark, through this particular pistol. Now, some things that I'll note, the actual firing pin, retaining pin, kind of hard to show. It's this guy right here. I dry fire my pistols a lot, and it was starting to get chewed through. This is a known, I guess you can say, weak point with the CZ pistols. That's one thing that I have replaced on this. It did not fail, but it absolutely, I noticed some peening. You could actually see straight through, and you saw a little lip starting to build up, so I replaced that with a Cajun Gun Works part. They make a nice actual, like a compression pin, a roll pin of sorts, that is way stronger and acts as like a little buffer for your firing pin. Those are $5. The part did not fail, so I'm not going to count it against the CZ at all, but I did see some pretty hefty wear on it, so I went ahead and replaced it to prevent any actual failures. Another thing I'll note is the magazine release has become a little bit loose. There was a point where it was actually kind of rattling around, but you can kind of hear it a little bit, but it doesn't do it too bad. But you know, I'm nitpicking. You can see there's a little bit of movement there. Is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. It functions perfectly fine. I have zero issues with it whatsoever. Another thing, these CZ custom Torx head little screws for your grip panels, they rust pretty quickly. I'm really not a fan of that. But you know, this thing's, especially this side, the left side of the pistol, because that's right up against your body. You get a bunch of sweat, all that stuff. So you know what? Maybe I'll replace them. Pretty sure they're like $6 or $7. Not too worried about it. Factory ones have not rusted. I have them on my SP01. Have no issues there. But these, little bit of rust, not holding it against the pistol at all. Now let's talk about some kind of failure rates and stuff. Over the course of 2,500 rounds, I've had 0 failures. The pistol has performed completely flawlessly. The only issues I've had have been 100% ammunition related. Within my first probably 100 rounds or so, I had a Freedom Munitions reload completely lock up the action and slide of this pistol, but that was determined the case was actually, the brass casing was too long. The casing length started to engage the rifling. It ceded to that force to where it completely locked the slide up, and you really had to use some force to get that open. Aside from that, this has had 0 issues whatsoever. It's proven to be more reliable than my Glock 19. It eats more ammo reliably than my Glock 19. It ignites every primer I've ever thrown at it. I do reload, so honestly, that last batch of reloads we were having some issues with the primers seating a little bit too far out, not too far in, a little too far out, and it was causing light strikes in a lot of our pistols. Now, the only pistols that were reliably igniting these primers were our CZs, hammer-fired CZs at that. We had issues with an FNX9, a Taurus PT111, Glock 19, Glock 34 wouldn't ignite them, but my P01 and a SP01 Shadow and an SP01 Tactical both reliably ignited every single primer that we've thrown at it. I will also note that this SP01 has a 13-pound hammer spring in it, which is much lighter than factory. I believe factory is 18-pound, and a lightened firing pin spring along with a lightened firing pin block spring. I'm going to be doing a video on that pistol as a whole because I've done some budget upgrades that have drastically improved the performance of the pistol. If you guys are interested in that, let me know. I'll make sure to record some goodies about that. But I wanted to make sure that I gave you guys an update for the 2,500 round mark. I'm hoping next update's going to be right around the 5,000 round mark. I don't see any issues really happening. Inforce still works. I will say it's not as bright as I want it to be. 200 lumens is really not enough. Now that I've been running the Streamlight a little bit on my 19, 200 lumens out of the Inforce really is not. You realize its shortcomings when you're using a light that is much brighter and has much more actual throw and candela. But for what I use it for, its compactness is very nice. I'll probably be trying out the Streamlight TLR7, the new one that they just released, because it is similarly sized. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, but this pistol has been perfectly reliable and has functioned flawlessly. Action, smooth as butter like every CZ. It's double action, you know, still a little heavy, a little gritty. Single action is what you'd expect. You got some take up and a little bit of grit. Not bad. I plan to leave this gun completely stock. Aside from this pin, the grips, obviously, I'm talking springs and internals. It's going to remain stock for the remainder of my testing and carrying because I shoot this thing very well. So, that's it guys. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.